How's High Parasite doing this summer? I've seen you've already been playing some festivals, right?
Well, we did the first one just a couple of days ago in Iceland.
Oh,
So
was that the Satan Festival?
yeah, it was. And I asked them, how is it pronounced? Surely it's not Satan, right? And it's not. It's Sautan, which is
Oh,
the name. It's the name of a local mountain where there was a sort of tribal upheaval hundreds of years ago. So it's named after the mountain. It's not anything to do with Satan.
oh, I thought it was like some big evil music fest up there, and I was like, wow, I wonder why they're playing because I
Yeah,
don't
we're
see
not.
that in your stuff. But
No, Carcass were playing, and a lot of Icelandic bands. They're fiercely patriotic, and it is mostly Icelandic bands with an invitation to some international acts. And we were lucky enough to have one of those invitations. And it's a beautiful place. We landed in Keflavik near Reykjavik, and then we drive 2 hours northwest through the most amazing scenery. It's like I've never been to the moon, but I suspect it's a bit like that.
yeah,
Uh, and it's spectacular. And even I got a photograph with my friend Gunnar Salmon at 2 a.m. and it's still light like this.
oh
So,
really? Yeah,
yeah, oh yeah,
nice.
yeah. It was wonderful. It's such a peaceful place. The way they live their lives there is a much slower pace to us. We
Yeah, that's where I want to be.
yeah,
Slower, more relaxed.
we went for a walk on the morning of the gig. Sun shining. It was cold though. The sea is blue and the air is so crisp. We saw like two cars, and it was Friday afternoon. I think, where is everybody? There's no traffic lights. There's it's just
That's
super
great.
peaceful. It's amazing.
Did you try the fermented shark?
Nope. Thankfully, no one offered it to us either, which was good. I know all about some of the interesting delights they have up
Yeah.
there. Some of which I'm sure are just tourist traps. But yeah, I'm sure some of them, the more traditional Icelandic people will devour those sorts of things.
My son went, I don't know, after high school years ago, and him and his friends went over there. And I was working some weird shift, but whatever the deal was, he was in some bar trying some Icelandic vodka and that stuff, and then he streamed it to me on FaceTime. He almost threw up.
Yeah, I don't think it's edible. I think it's dangerous. Um, I remember seeing someone else on a travel program. They were drinking it was like excuse me, a locally brewed vodka, but in it was a moldy human toe.
What?
And yeah, and you had to drink from the bottle, and you couldn't stop until the toe touched your lip.
Oh,
And again, I'm thinking, yeah, that's one for the tourists. I'm pretty sure most bars won't be allowed to have any human parts in their drinks.
right.
So I think it's a gimmick. But again, thankfully, no one was trying to say, you must try this, you must try this, blah, blah, blah. The food was great. We met the ex-president of Iceland, who's a big rock fan.
Oh,
He gave a
nice.
brilliant presentation about Icelandic culture, and there was a great panel discussing the Icelandic language and the ancient runes that they have over there, which unfortunately the Nazis stole and used in some of their BS.
Right.
And so it means now when an Icelandic band uses their own language, people think they're right-wing extremists because of the association with the Nazis. So their
Yeah.
ex-president is saying, we need to claim that back. We need to claim that back from the
Yeah.
right-wing extremists because it's just not fair.
Right. Wow. How was the crowd? Were they pretty accepting?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure no one knew who the hell we were, which was as to be expected, I think. But I think once we got going, people were sort of dancing and enjoying themselves because there's quite a lot of extreme bands there.
Right.
It's 100 miles an hour, it's brutal death metal, and which is great. But I think sometimes the audience might need a little bit of a break.
Sure.
That's where we came in, and they were dancing and cheering and loving it. So I think,
Yeah.
we sold almost all of our merchandise. So
That's great. I mean, I know I listened to the record and it's in my regular rotation and I absolutely love it. I didn't know
thank
what
you
to
very much.
expect at first. And like My Syndrome is totally my jam. That is a fucking great tune.
Yeah, we did that one as well. That went down really well. Yeah, thanks very much. Appreciate that. So
Yeah, yeah.
that was the number one of our long list of summer festivals. That's the first one, and indeed, that's the first flying gig High Parasite have ever done. We've been on the road all the time, but that's the first flyer. Next, or this weekend, we're going to Into the Grave in the Netherlands. Then another festival the week after in Lithuania. We're all over. We're all over the place. So this Iceland was the first of many.
Nice. Are the My Dying Bride fans taking the journey with you, or is it a break and you've got new fans?
Well, a bit of both. We always see My Dying Bride shirts at the gigs. People come over, I'm signing My Dying Bride merch all the time. That will never stop, which is great. And a lot of them have come along for the ride. It won't be everybody's cup of tea. That's fine.
Right.
No one's band is everyone's cup of tea. Some of them, they absolutely love it, and they've bought everything, which is absolutely fantastic. So yeah, the MDB fans are coming on for the ride, and for the most part, loving it.
Was it difficult to switch gears this late? I mean, I'm not calling you old by any means, but at a certain age, we're all like ingrained in our ways. Was it difficult to switch gears and do something like this apart from, what has been pretty much your legacy, right?
Yeah, I didn't really think about it, to be honest. I mean, My Dying Bride did death metal and doom. Some of the death metal stuff was pretty rapid. It wasn't all doom, so we knew how to nod our heads pretty rapidly back in the old days. And this is a bit more of that. The songs are obviously much shorter. They're super catchy. But it is weird having someone else singing on stage, because Toom does some vocals and I do the vocals.
Right.
And I'm thinking to myself, well, when he's singing, what am I supposed to do?
Right.
So I'm just I'm not going to dance. I can't dance. I'm not going to embarrass myself like that. But I'm not entirely sure what I'm supposed to do. My stagecraft is still developing. I just try and walk around a bit. I bought a cordless microphone so I could get a bit more movement on stage without tripping everybody. Right. So it is weird when I'm not the only singer, because of course in MDB I was the only one doing
right.
So that's a bit weird. But the music's just cool music, It's great to sing, and it's great to move to, and I feel 10 years younger, because the energy that the music brings and the energy that the younger members of High Parasite give off, it just makes me feel great. So on stage, I'm actually having fun with My Dying Bride. I wouldn't call it fun on stage, because the songs are really emotional and they're hard. Right. They're super heavy. And it was, it was draining mentally for me with My Dying Bride. With High Parasite, for the first time ever, I look forward to getting on stage, and I love being on stage with High Parasite. And it's just, I've never felt that, at this age in my life, you sort of think, well, you've done a thing for a long time, and that's all you're going to do. And
right.
Not stuck in a rut, but it is what it is. And then suddenly something else comes along, and it flips the coin completely. And, as I say, I feel 10 years younger, I'm full of energy, and I can't wait for the next gig.
That's great. It's nice that you're able to really successfully reinvent yourself, because that's a tough thing, right? Especially as you get older, I think. Or maybe it's not. Maybe it's just society that says that. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, again, because I've never reinvented myself before, it's all right. Very, very new. It's all super new to me. I don't know what I'm doing half the time, but it just feels good. I've got a new lease of energy, and I'm doing things I've not done before, and which is good at this stage of my life. To be doing brand new things, it's great. And I've started reading my poetry at gigs as well now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've in January this year, I did a show in a church in Belgium with Dark Hurt, Sylvain.
Yes, I saw the videos. Yeah.
Oh, it was brilliant. And I'm working on a few more of these sort of events. Something's coming up in October, I believe, where I'll be performing again with Dark Her and the Dead Space Chamber Music group, doing some poetry and some versions of My Dying Bride songs that people won't have heard before. So again, things I've never done before, really enjoying.
So do you feel like a whole new creative spark going on?
Yeah, definitely. I still like writing the really heavy lyrics because that's really where my heart is, the deep, meaningful stuff. And while at the moment that's not lyrics for My Dying Bride, it's poems which I'm able to perform live. So I'm still venting my emotions, but
Right.
instead of singing them with My Dying Bride, I'm speaking them um, to people who are bewildered sometimes, but for the most part, enjoying it, because they are, a lot of my poetry is very much like My Dying Bride lyrics. It's that same, it comes from the same heart, same soul. So,
Right.
if you like My Dying Bride lyrics, you're pretty much gonna like the poetry.
Is it hard or was it hard at first being the only guy out there, like doing that kind of stuff? So then you're the center of attention, right? And it's not the band, it's not High Parasite or My Dying Bride or any of that.
I fell into it quite easily, actually. When I walked out uh, on that stage in that church, and there was hundreds of people there, I had my words there on a little, music stand, and I just talk to people, and I don't. To me, it's not performing. I'm talking to them about poetry and why I do it, and then I read a poem, and then I talk to them about other things, and then I read another poem.
I
It
love that.
it feels perfectly natural. And then, on that event, Mark Deeks then came out and played some impromptu piano to a couple of poems. And then Joe Quayle came out and we all did some My Dying Bride songs, and it was absolutely magical. But the poetry I don't feel like it's a performance at all. I'm just reading the things I've written, and it just feels perfectly natural. I'm super comfortable. Never spoke to 300 people before in that way.
Yeah.
Felt perfectly natural. So looking forward to doing more.
When you're writing that poetry, I know it's very, you said it, you're venting or you're whatever, getting stuff out of you. Is it hard revisiting those poems? Like, because I imagine like you're writing those in the middle of them. Here's my vision, right? You're sitting in a chair by a candle, venting all this shit, and then you've got to perform that every so often. Is it hard getting back into that space again?
It is, however, because I've written so many poems, the really personal ones, I can simply leave at home. They did their job. They allowed me to exorcise all the negative thoughts out of my head, put them on paper, and then move it somewhere else, which leaves me with great clarity.
Like,
And when I look at what I'm going to say, I keep the really sensitive ones. I just leave them at home, and I take the less sensitive ones. There's still quite a lot of emotion going on. These aren't funny poems.
right.
Uh, they are emotional, but yeah, the super terrifying ones, they will remain at home. They may end up in a book at some point, but again, I don't ever have to read them out. I do what I want with my poetry. If I don't want to read one, I don't read it. It's as simple as that.
You ever feel like you put too much of yourself into a poem or a lyric?
Yeah. Of course, with My Dying Bride, half the time I'm crying on stage and I'm rolling around and I'm lost. I'm lost in the zone.
Right.
And I very often sort of become the character I've written about. So yeah, a bit of that. But I can ease myself away from that now, because as I mentioned, the more emotional poems I won't bother reading. And of course, with High Parasite, the lyrics are nothing like My Dying Bride's lyrics.
Right.
Dooms writes most of the lyrics. I add a little bit of a little bit here and there, and if well, we sort of share the writing. We've written about half of it each, I think. And they're much more contemporary lyrics. They're less tugging at the heartstrings
Right.
and more, I don't know, I don't really know how to describe the lyrics for High Parasite. They're interesting, and I enjoy singing them.
Yeah, and I think you're right. You said something earlier about, people are dancing, and I don't think you can dance while, well, maybe you can, but dancing while crying probably isn't the isn't the
That's
goal.
that's what you do at parties in the kitchen on your own.
Right. So what else are you playing? A bunch of festivals you said this summer?
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, you'll have to check the High Parasite Facebook because
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I can't remember them
Oh,
all. And then there's a US band called Unto Others who are doing a small tour in the UK, and we're playing 3 or 4 shows with those guys. That's coming up as well in between some of the festivals. As I say, I've got some spoken word things coming up. Then we're touring with Paradise Lost in October.
that's
We're
beautiful.
doing another gig, a big gig with Cradle of Filth in their neck of the woods. Um, yeah, and
You just did a bunch of stuff with them, right?
yeah, it was brilliant. Yeah, I've known Danny for years and years and years.
Yeah, yeah.
We toured with them at the end of last year, which was brilliant. Again, made a lot of new fans. People come up to you after the show and say, I said to my friend, that looks just like the singer of My Dying Bride on stage. It's like, well, it's funny you should say that because a lot of people, most people don't follow Facebook and Insta and whatever these other ones are called. So, you can talk as much as you want on the social platforms about as much as you like. But if people aren't looking at it,
Yeah,
they
it
won't.
falls flat.
Yeah, so we're doing a gig supporting Cradle of Filth. Everyone there's a Cradle of Filth fan. No one's ever heard of High Parasite, and now they have. And every gig we do, as I mentioned, in Iceland, I'm pretty sure no one knew who the heck we were. We sold all the merchandise, and now they know who we are. And that's exactly the point of touring. You're going out and you're showing people what you can do and who you are. And so far, people have absolutely loved it. It's really been insane, Bruce. It's gone like that, skyrocketed, and it's
And that's wonderful news, man. It's great to see that, you're able to succeed at doing that. Because how difficult was it to, and it was sort of covered it, but emotionally, how difficult was it to step away and do something new?
well, it didn't happen like that. It sort of evolved over months, I guess. So it wasn't, I didn't wake up and suddenly go, right, I'm doing this now. It just sort of evolved, and when something evolves at a slower pace, you've got time to get used to it. It's not a big
Right.
shock, and you start to become that other person. And I said it before, I'll say it again. I feel 10 years younger, and
That's
so
beautiful.
it must be good for my health.
Yeah.
And weirdly, I don't know how this works. I'm eating better and I'm drinking less and I'm exercising more. So
Good deal.
whatever,
All good.
yeah, whatever I've decided to become or do is really beneficial on so many different levels.
That's wonderful. And then 70K here next year, I'm hoping.
Oh, brilliant. We were talking about it on the air. It would be great. I mean, My Dying Bride did it 3 times.
Yeah.
It would be great to get the call. So yeah, we keep our fingers crossed for a bit of that. We're doing festivals we didn't expect to do so early in our career. So we're thrilled at the way things are developing for us, and it wouldn't surprise me if we got 70K in the next couple of years.
Yeah, we're drinking beers in that Irish pub there or the British pub.
Oh yeah, that would be great.
Are you guys one of those bands that's always writing? So are you constantly writing new stuff, or is it you set time aside for that?
I barely write anything for High Parasite. Toons is on it all the time. In fact, I don't know where this new song came from. I got an email from him this morning saying, Aaron, here's another new one. I'm thinking, well, we've been away for a week. You can't possibly have composed a song while we were away. He never stops though. Like some people will watch movies all the time, or will be gamers, or will be sports fanatics and doing other stuff. He seems to just write music. That's what he wants to do. That's all he does. That sleeping nonsense, I'll do that when I'm dead. He just
Right.
writes and writes, and it's all good stuff as well. Because you sort of think, hang on a minute, if you're going to write 3 songs a week, at some point they're going to start to sound very similar and a bit boring
Right.
because it's relentless. But they're not yet. And when they pop through the email and I press play, it's you have to stand up. You have to stand up and move because the music compels you to do it. It's infectious. It's fantastic.
Beautiful. Do you ever feel well, I guess you probably do feel a little strange, but do you ever feel weird or odd not being the main contributor to the lyrics and
No, not really. Again, I wrote the lyrics for My Dying Bride, and I write some lyrics for High
right,
Parasite. And at no point have I read Toombs's words and gone, oh, ooh, we need to make changes here.
right,
Perfectly happy with them. He's happy with what I've written. I'm happy with what he's written. Again, it's a new scenario I've never been in before. And that dark emotional stuff, as I mentioned, I would normally write lyrics for My Dying Bride. I'm now doing the poetry thing. So I've still got that outlet.
right.
So yeah, it's all good at the moment. Yeah.
Do you see more poetry? I don't know if a tour is a word, but a like a circuit coming up. I know you got one coming up in October or something, but is the goal to do like a series of them, like Henry Rollins or somebody?
It's funny you should say that because I have a Zoom call with Mark Deeks and Joe Quayle on Wednesday to discuss a Latin American tour. So there's a
Spoken
promoter,
word.
yeah, but with
Wow, good for you.
with these guys as well. So again, it will be poetry, some interesting renditions of My Dying Bride songs. So it looks like we're going to Central and South America, which will be
Good
incredible.
for you. You are hitting on all cylinders. That's beautiful.
I mean, this year, I think by the time this year is over, I will have performed about 50 shows, which I've never done in my life. Never done 50 shows in one year.
Right.
And I think next year will be even more because this year, really, because it's the first year of High Parasite doing summer festivals,
Right.
the ones that we do, um, all festival promoters keep an eye out on who's doing what, who's playing which festival. Does it go down well? Are they any good? So we're hoping that this is like the tester year. We play a
Right.
bunch of festivals, and the festivals we don't play, we'll see how well we got on. They'll ring the promoter and say, "Hey, how did those High Parasite guys do? Are they assholes? Are they nice people?" We're nice people. We're not assholes. We're always prompt, very professional, and that word will get about. And then next year we'll be playing even more festivals.
Right. You've been playing Dokken main stage with your
Hey,
poetry.
maybe you never know. You never know, mate.
I put it out in the universe, Dokken and 70K. So hopefully it takes off for you.
Boom. Thank you very much. I like what you're saying.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it's great to, to see how far you've come because it's not easy to reinvent yourself and it's not easy to, to make that separation. And you did it and you seem like you're, like I said, firing on all cylinders. I love
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. It's almost like it. What's that film now? Was it Big Fish, where the guy
Mhm.
learns the day that he's going to die. And I haven't learned that, but it's like it's almost like I know the Grim Reaper is somewhere behind me.
Yeah.
So I'm cramming in as much shit as I can possibly get away with um, before I can't do it. You never know. I know someone with Alzheimer's
Yeah.
who no longer knows who anybody is, which is such a
Yeah.
shame. And I think while I can, I'm going to be as creative as I possibly can because one day I won't be able to. So
Yeah.
I'm doing it all now. And, I'm doing more photography, more artwork, the poetry, just, I feel like I want to do it as well. It's not like I'm not forcing it.
Yeah.
It feels like the natural thing to do. I want to be busy all the time. And if I'm straight after this interview, rather than sort of sitting around my office thinking, what shall I do next? I'll go for a walk in the pouring rain and think of some new ideas and see what I can do next.
It's funny you say all that because my wife and I had this conversation just recently because my kids are out now, married, grandfather now this year. I mean,
Correct.
Thanks. They're doing their thing, and I'm 3 years from retiring from the state, and all of a sudden, exactly what you said, like in the last 2 years, I have this need to just do so much shit. And I'm not a musician, so I'm playing with the podcast, I'm writing these short comedy things that we're doing, the cooking shows back. But even beyond that, I'm like, I've never been fucking camping. I'm gonna go. I went camping for 4 days, and I've never done. And my wife was like, "What is wrong with you? You want to do everything." I take fencing lessons. Like
Wow.
one day I got up and I'm like, I saw an ad that said, fencing, come try it. Fuck it. I'm gonna go try it.
So you'll be covered in scars soon.
Yeah, but I'm doing all this shit like I don't know, it's like the gates opened or the filters dropped, and I think it's 100% like what you said. I know so many people that, just a little bit older than me that are done or sick or passing or
Yeah.
giving up, and they're watching TV and crocheting, and all of a sudden now I don't have the kids, responsibility anymore. Not that I don't do anything with them, we do a ton, but it's way different than having to get up to school and go to soccer. And all of a sudden, that free time, I'm like, fuck it, what do I want to do?
Yeah, you're right. You should do more because, uh, I mean, some people confuse it with that classic phrase, midlife crisis.
Yeah, I don't
It's
see
not
that
that.
at all.
No, it's not that. It's you just your creative juices need to go somewhere.
Yeah.
So just do stuff. Otherwise, you'll just sit at home and you'll percolate in your own sweat, and you'll
And
just
that's
be,
what I was doing. That's why I said I gained weight. I come home from work and go, fuck, it was a bad day.
yeah,
I'm gonna have a couple beers, eat a pizza and sit here and watch TV with my wife and the dogs, and we'll watch Netflix or some bullshit. And we got into that routine for so long.
yeah, yeah. It's easily
And
done.
then yeah, and then all of a sudden something snapped. Like I looked in the mirror one day and I'm like, fuck, I've got to do something.
Yeah,
And then
like I
all of
said,
a sudden I'm on this quest to try everything. I don't care what it is. Underwater basket
yeah,
weaving. If it comes across my feed, I'm doing it.
that would be. I'd love to see that. Yeah, it's like I said. I've got. My daughter doesn't come home from school for another couple of hours. So I could just mill around here. I could put the Xbox on. I could watch a film. I could do some writing. But I want to go out and walk.
Yeah.
I just want to go and walk. And it doesn't matter if it's raining. I know it's raining. It doesn't make any difference to me. I'm just going to put a coat on, probably put the headphones in, and I'm just going to go and walk and enjoy the walk and then get home and say, meet her at the bus stop and walk home together.
Yeah. What are you gonna listen to on the walk?
Well, probably Sleep Token, because I didn't really understand what was going on with Sleep Token, why they suddenly became the biggest band on earth. Oddly, we're signed to the same record label, which was quite cool. So I'm just going to say to the people of the record label, if Sleep Token need a support act, we're on the same label, or we were. I think they've moved on. Anyway, because I didn't really understand what Sleep Token was all about. So I listened to it in the car when I was on a long drive recently, and I put it on repeat, and I thought, okay, I'm getting it a bit now. So I'm going to put Sleep Token on and go for a walk in the rain, and that will be the deciding moment whether or not I think they're genius or they're just, I don't know, pulling the wool over our eyes. But I'm
I
going to listen
haven't. Yeah, I haven't figured them out yet. I think
to.
I'm not the guy who's totally blown over by them. I don't hate them by any means, but they haven't resonated with me yet. And maybe they will. I mean, maybe they won't. I don't know. It's up.
Yeah, same here. Like I say, I heard it in the car. I thought, okay, there's something going on here. Nothing popped, nothing, I'm not singing the songs in my head. There's no
Right.
earworms there. But it's interesting. So I'm going to give it another listen and see what happens.
Good for you. Hey, in all your we got to go in a second because I got like 5 minutes left in this thing. But in all your creativity, you up for another cooking challenge?
Definitely. I love cooking. For my birthday, a good friend of mine, Russell Ingram, in the States, he's a chef. He bought me a handcrafted knife made in Sheffield from Sheffield Steel by
Oh,
Michael
nice.
May. It's got a Yorkshire oak handle and it is razor sharp. You look at it and all your fingers fly off. It's
Nice.
lethal, and I use it for everything. Thank you, Russell. I cook all the time. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, we're starting a new season. We're doing it a little bit different this year. In the past, we've done like just make whatever you want or some kind of.
Yeah.
This time, you ever watch Chopped? Do you get Chopped over in the UK?
Don't think so.
where they give you like a certain set of five certain ingredients, and you
Oh, I
got to
get
use
the
those.
idea.
But you can use anything else, but you got to use those five
I
at least.
understand. Yeah.
So I've got it already set up, and people are sending their stuff, and we're hoping for like a September 1st season opener.
Okay, great. Yeah, count me in on that. I'll do some of that.
I'll send you the info because it's a little strange. It's, well, not too strange, I guess. It's chicken breast, quinoa, coconut milk, bell peppers, and then the ringer is dark chocolate.
Oh, yeah, shit. Okay. Just put it all in one pan. Turn it up. I'll see what happens.
I'll send you an email if you're interested in doing it because the last one was great.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
Cool, man. I appreciate you always taking the time for me. You rock, my friend.
Always got time for you, Bruce. Always got time for you, mate.
You rock. Thank you so much. I am so glad you're firing on all cylinders and you're feeling good. Beautiful.
You're looking good, buddy.
Yeah. And we're gonna be drinking beers. I'm setting it right now. Drinking beers. The first ones are on you on the in that Irish pub on the deck.
You can count on me, mate. I'll be there.
All right, my friend. Take care.
Cheers, man. See you later.
Be well. Cheers. Enjoy your walk.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.
Hey everyone, this is Bjorn from Soulwork, and this is Brutally Delicious.
The Brutally Delicious Podcast. The Brutally Delicious Podcast. The Brutally Delicious Podcast. The Brutally Delicious Podcast.
Hey there, heavy metal maniacs and kitchen crusaders. I'm Bruce Moore, the host of the Brutally Delicious Podcast, where we whisk up a blend of metal and food to quench even the most discriminate tastes. Have you ever wondered what your favorite metal musician chows down on before they hit the stage to melt your face off? Well, look no further. Here at the Brutally Delicious Podcast, we have cooking segments so brutal they'll make your oven want to headbang. From beefy, bodacious burgers, to spicy, succulent salmon, to kickin' caliente cauliflower, and more. We mix metal and culinary creations, resulting in a feast for the senses.
But wait, there's more.
Hey, this is Michael Monroe. Brutally delicious. Isn't that beautiful? See you down the road.
Each week, I meet with the mammoths of metal for interviews that are spicier than a Carolina Reaper. Get the latest on their upcoming shows, behind-the-scenes stories, and if we're lucky enough, maybe they'll share a secret family recipe or two with us. You'll also want to check out our weekly album and show reviews, where we dice, slice, and serve up our unique takes on the latest metal releases. So grab your leather apron, crank to volume 211, and subscribe to the Brutally Delicious Podcast on your favorite podcast platform. It's sure to be a hell of a time.
Oh, hey there. It's Tim from Protest the Hero. Now that you've seen my junk, I'm going to show you how to make a pizza. And you're watching Brutally Delicious.
What's up, everybody? Max Cavalera, Soulfly, and you listen to Brutally Delicious Podcast. Stay metal, motherfuckers.